Critique. France, leading the EU in a renewed struggle to maintain control over Africa. In recent months, Burkina Faso has experienced multiple coup attempts, stirring widespread belief across Africa that French President Emmanuel Macron may be involved. Many see Macron's actions not merely as foreign policy, but as an aggressive attempt to reassert France's diminishing grip on its former African colonies, a grip shaped by historical dominance and economic exploitation. Meanwhile, the European Union finds itself at a crossroads, especially following the presidency of Donald Trump, who disrupted traditional Western alliances and questioned long-held hegemonic roles. Trump's stance on international conflicts, particularly the Russia-Ukraine war, revealed his lack of alignment with the EU's ambitions. He has repeatedly expressed a desire to end the war quickly, with little regard for the EU's aim to decisively defeat and weaken Russia. For many European leaders, especially those like Macron, Ukraine is not only a victim in need of support, but a tool in the broader geopolitical contest with Russia. Unfortunately, a significant aspect of this confrontation that remains underreported is France's discomfort with Russia's rising influence in Africa. For France and other European imperial powers, the Ukraine conflict serves a dual purpose. It's a battlefield against Russian expansion, and it is a chance to reassert their declining influence in Africa. France, humiliated by recent political shifts in Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger, is keen to re-establish dominance, not just in Europe's Eastern Front, but also across the African continent. The heart of this critique lies in the silence of African leadership. Despite evidence suggesting France's meddling in African political transitions, there has been no unified or decisive response from the African Union, AU, or the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. This is especially troubling given France's historical role in undermining African sovereignty and exploiting the continent's natural resources. Of particular concern is the cozy relationship between Nigerian President Bola Tinubu and President Macron. Tinubu's recent trip to France, where he claimed was more conducive for his performative appraisal of his leadership, has left Nigerians bewildered and suspicious. Why is Tinubu aligning himself so closely with Macron at a time when France's motives in Africa are being widely questioned? France is desperate to reclaim its influence, and African leaders appear either too short-sighted or too disorganized to confront this reality. There is no evidence of a strategic continent-wide plan to protect Africa's interests in this era of shifting global power dynamics. Adding to the tension is the unpredictability of the Russia-Ukraine war. Neither Russia nor the EU seems willing to back down without claiming victory. President Zelensky of Ukraine appears committed to fighting to the end, with the support of Western allies who see this as a test of power and political will. Yet there's growing concern about how far this conflict might escalate. Even the threat of nuclear confrontation has surfaced, a chilling reminder of past global wars. In the course of the last two major global conflicts, both originating in Europe yet framed as world wars, the only use of nuclear weapons in warfare did not occur on European soil. Despite the fact that the central aggressors of those wars were European powers, the United States chose to drop atomic bombs on Japan, a nation that had aligned itself with one side rather than being a principal architect of the conflict. This decision remains deeply unsettling and raises a critical, often ignored question. Why was Japan, and not a European nation, deemed the appropriate target for such an unprecedented act of destruction? The absence of this question from mainstream discourse reveals uncomfortable truths about racialized geopolitics and the value placed on different human lives within the architecture of global power. Africans must begin to seriously contemplate a chilling possibility. If the use of nuclear weapons is ever again justified as a necessary means to end a global conflict, as the US claimed in the case of World War II, Then Africa, in its politically weakened and globally marginalized state, could be viewed as a dispensable target. The logic might echo a sinister sentiment: if we cannot control it, no one should. In such a scenario, the annihilation of African lives and lands may not even provoke significant outrage from the international community. History has shown that the global order is often rebuilt without accountability for those trampled in the process. And Africa, lacking a unified voice and strong global leverage, remains dangerously vulnerable in that equation. The idea may sound extreme, but in a world where some lives are deemed more valuable than others, Africa must not assume immunity. This critique is a call to action. African leaders must wake up. They must speak with one voice and take ownership of the continent's future. Africa's resources, its people, and its political destiny must be protected from the exploitative ambitions of former colonizers and global powers alike. Diaspoint values your perspective and encourages you to share your thoughts on the topics we present. Feel free to comment and share with your network to spark broader discussions.